Okay, guys. Today I'm just going to talk about how we have to integrate, how we have to go and use arguments as well as importing namespaces. So argument is one of the important concepts in UiPath where I'm going to pass the data between the multiple XAMLs. So far we have seen, right, so how we have worked with only single XAML. So we just add, I mean to say that we just add a sequence or a flowchart where I have done my, where I have designed my workflow. So now it's one of the important topic in UiPath. So wherever you go in real time, make sure that we are going to use the arguments and import namespace concepts. Basically, what is an argument? So arguments is nothing but which is used to pass the data from one workflow to another workflow. That means that one XAML to another XAML, you have to pass the data and make sure that argument is a concept comes to the picture where we are going to use the data, where we are going to pass the data between two XAMLs. To store data dynamically and pass it on, that means that you are passing some data to one XAML. In that XAML, data may be varying. That means that data is changing dynamically. That data you may be passed to another XAML also. So there is no that it doesn't mean here you are going to pass only static data across the XAMLs. It's not a, so we are going to pass the data so like dynamically changing, right? So whenever I'm just passing number one to XAML XAML one. In the XAML one, the one may be changed based on the requirement. One will become two.
Money, Mohan,
On. Yeah.
what is it? XAML? What is it? XAML?
XAML is nothing but like it is an extension of UiPath, right? How do we discussed? If you could open this variable demo. When you're creating any flowchart or sequence, it has come up with one extension called XAML, right? Extension of UiPath. So,
Mm-hmm.
so far we have seen, see, if you could see here the project, seeing all our XAMLs, that means that all our files, each
Mm-hmm.
file is individual, I mean, it is acting like individual file here.
Okay, each are bot, each are separate bot.
Yeah, exactly. Not bot actually here.
Uh-huh.
These are all files. The entire, I can say, it's a variables demo is a bot. Okay.
Okay,
And
okay. So under bot there are so many files.
yes, yes.
Each file does its own operations, right? Own functions.
Exactly. Doing some operation.
Okay, so
It,
this bot,
project.
so the each file does some operations, right? So parallelly, two files can does its operation by bot.
No, it's a
No,
sequential manner only. See, I'm
at
just
the
doing,
time
yeah. Here, no,
only
there is no
one.
parallel execution here. I'll be
Uh-huh.
calling addition first of all. After calling addition, I'm just going to call array demo. So like that.
Okay.
So based on invoking a function.
Hmm. Okay, it's a
See,
kind of function.
see, simply I can say this is not like a bot. Even I'll put it in this way. This is
Hmm.
one process. Let's say example, you are doing some email automation something, right? So this
Hmm.
process of email automation is one process. Okay. So
Okay.
entirely what will happen, finally we can say this process can be assigned to more than one box. You got my point, Mangat here? Just
No,
the
no,
entire,
no.
what I'm trying to say here is XAML. See here what we are creating more than one XAML for splitting my task into multiple XAMLs. Even I can write the entire process into single XAML even. But
Okay.
for maintenance purpose, see right, see functions concept. C or C++ you might have heard about function. Pass by value,
Okay.
pass by difference, something we might have heard, right? The same
Okay.
concept, I'm going to use it here. I'm going to segregate my entire task into multiple subtasks for maintenance purpose.
Okay.
So
So each
what
each
will
one
happen?
is can be called each one can be called as one separate function in the programmatic area.
Yes, that I'll
Yeah.
talk about now in the arguments, right? How we have to call
Oh.
the
So
some
it's
other.
like on each function you will give one argument as an input and get the output into one argument, right?
Yes, exactly right.
So that
It's like
output argument can be the feed to the next file, next function.
yes. So
Okay.
here we have invoking file. We have a separate activity called invoking file. So
Hmm.
where I'm going to call the These are the we used to call these are the files, right? So in the addition, right, I'm going to call array demo. From here, I'm going to pass some data to this one. From here,
Okay.
I'm going to get some data to here also, like this,
Okay.
in out, in out, in something. We'll have some directions. We'll talk in detail about that one.
Okay.
Fine, right?
Yeah, fine. The voice is bit slow and sometimes not clear to hear.
Still also same problem, Venkat.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes. Still voice is bit slow.
One second. So what about now, Venkat?
Uh,
Same, huh?
okay, we'll yeah, yeah.
I don't know what is the problem. It's better, I think, right now.
Yeah, little bit. We'll see. It goes.
Fine. See, then UiPath Studio supports a large number of type of arguments. That means that in the argument, I can pass this type of data. I can pass generic value. I can pass int string. I can pass boolean. I can pass object. I can pass array. I can pass data table argument. So even these are the information I can pass across my arguments to the other XAMLs. Arguments have a specific directions. So we have 4 types of directions that are available in UiPath Studio. Number 1 is in, second one is out, the third one is in out, and fourth one is property. So we have an argument panel. So where we have it now, 4 columns available. The first one is name, direction, argument type, and default value. These things we can find it here. So far we have declared the variables. We know how to declare the variables, all those stuff. Now let's move on to the arguments. Here the first column, see, name, direction, argument type, and default. So what is a name here? A name is nothing but like a variable name. So here I'm argument name. Make sure that this is the mandatory field. We have to give the name of the your argument. So this is the new column. I am just introducing directions. What direction I have to go? That means that in, out, or property. So what is an in? The argument can only be used within the given workflow. That's very simple. I am calling, let's say example, we have 2 workflow A and workflow B. I am calling workflow B where I'm going to pass some value to the workflow B. So what will happen in this case? We can use an direction called in. In is nothing but I'm going to call some other XAML where I'm going to pass some data for workflow B purpose, not for workflow A purpose. I hope you got it here. There are 2 workflows, workflow A and workflow B. There are 2 workflows are there, and I'm going to pass some data to workflow B. That means that you have to declare one argument as in type in workflow B, because this data is only for workflow B. That data is not, no, that means that the data, whatever the passing from workflow B not required by the workflow A, then what we have to do here, we have to declare the direction called indirection. You got it, Venkat, here? What is the indirection?
So,
Argument can only be
it
used.
is like you are declaring locally. So it is visible only in the particular workflow.
It is not visible.
Uh,
Sorry.
It can
I'm
be
just,
used.
yeah. I'm just going to pass it to the B, that's all, because B requires some data from A. Okay. B requires some data from A. So but A don't want written data from them.
Okay.
Okay. Only for B alone, right? So what will happen? I'm going to give it to that guy, that's all. I don't want from him again. So that time what will happen? So from B, I'm going to declare one arguments. So let us see. For if we could see one example, then only we'll get better understand. This is a bit confusion topic. Let us clearly understand when I will go with the what I'm trying to say examples.
Okay.
So we have other two directions, out and in out, but property is not currently used. And this is argument type. Again, this is very important. It's a mandatory column. What is that? So what type of argument I'm passing? If you're declaring integer, so make sure that you have declared argument as an integer. If you're passing data in the form of like a data table, so make sure that your argument should be a data table. So like that, you have to declare, your argument type is a mandatory. And default value, here also you can pass some default values to an argument. It's also feasible. Sorry. So these are the four columns in the argument. See here, argument name, direction, argument type, and default. So name is the name of the variable, direction nothing but in or in out or out, or we have an argument type called type of argument. So what type of argument it is, integer argument or a float argument or a double argument, so whatever it is. So we have a default value. If you want to give default value, yes, you can give it, or else you can leave it. So let me create a new project called arguments demo. Let me create new sequence. So what is this? This is callable workflow. Let me create one more sequence in demo, indirection demo. So now I have created two XAMLs. The one is callable workflow, the another one is indirection. So what is indirection? Let me create one variable here, int val. So very simple, I'm just creating of type integer. Let me drag and drop assign here. I'm just assigning some value here, int value equals to some. I'm just got stuck here. Yes, I have declared some value. So this should be an integer. Now errors free. Now very simple, in the indirection, this is my first XAML. Let's say this is called an example I have told, right? This is called workflow A. Now I have a variable called int value where I have assigned 200. This value I just want to pass it to the callable workflow. So in the callable workflow, what we have to do, we have to declare an argument. So what is an argument? Arg int val. So this should be an indirection, okay? And so make sure that whatever the variable you have been declared there, so make sure that you have to use the same type here also. Here see, I should not declare any default value. Simply I'm just drag and drop right line here. So here I am just displaying int value plus, so what is the value? Arg int val dot toString. In this, right, in this callable
yeah. ஒரே ஒரு டவுட். இங்க ஒரு ஆர்குமெண்ட் டிக்ளேர் பண்ணிட்டீங்க, அதை இன்டைரக்ஷனா டிக்ளேர் பண்ணிருக்கீங்க. இப்போ வந்து ரைட் லைன்ல வந்து இந்த டவுட் எனக்கு இன்னும் இருக்கு. நீங்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கிளாஸ்ல இருந்து இப்போ இன் வேல்யூன்றது உங்களுடைய அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங்க்கு போட்டிருக்கீங்க வித்தின் டபுள் கோட்ஸ்ல.
ஆமாங்க.
அதுக்கப்புறம் பிளஸ் வந்து கன்கார்டினேட் பண்றீங்களா?
ஆமாங்க. அந்த வேல்யூ என்னென்ன வேல்யூ நமக்கு வருமோ and the value I have here, I'm just அங்கிருந்து pass பண்றோம் ரைட்டா. Indirection I'm just passing this value to this. I'm just printing that value here for understanding what is the value which I'm getting from indirection to callable workflow. That's all. இது நம்ம understanding purpose தான். இது concatenation nothing but what type of value it is. See, for just I'm just showcasing to you guys, right? So இங்க in value, so I'm getting in value from there. I'm just displaying here. That's all.
Okay.
Clear, right?
அது மெசேஜ் பாக்ஸ் மாதிரி வரதுனால string கன்வர்ட் பண்றீங்க to string க்கு.
ஆமா, இது actually பார்த்தா right line will accept only string, right? Right line box or log message. Three are going to accept only to string.
Okay. இப்போ இங்க ஒரு டவுட். இப்போ அந்த inline within double quotes பக்கத்துல பிளஸ் கொடுத்திருக்கீங்கல்ல. இப்போ நான் அந்த பிளஸ் கொடுக்காம கொடுத்தா என்ன எரர் வரும் ஜி? பிளஸ் கொடுக்காம டைரக்டா ஆர்குமென்ட் வேல்யூ டாட் to string.
Expression error only. That expression is expected.
Okay.
Is the syntax. பார்த்தனா is the syntax. Concatenation பண்ணும்போது நீங்க கண்டிப்பா பிளஸ் கொடுக்கணும். நீங்க if you want to add more than one to strings here, concatenation here, to make sure that நீங்க இதுக்கு அப்புறமே ஆட் பண்ணிக்கலாம்.
ஓகே ஜி, புரியுது ஜி.
ஓகேங்களா?
புரியுது. ஓகே.
Fine. Now let's move on to the indirection. Now what I want to do here, now I want to call the callable workflow from inside of indirection demo, right? So for that we have invoke workflow file. So this is one of the important activity. Invoke workflow file is an activity where I'm going to invoke the XAML. Before that, close this. You have to save before property here. It's not saved. It's got saved now. Now go back to the indirection. Now call that XAML. So what is the XAML I'm just calling here? Callable workflow. After clicking, what immediate action you have to do? You have to click the import arguments. When you click import arguments, whatever the arguments which are being declared in other XAML, which is going to list it down here. Right now here you want to pass the value. What is the value you want to pass it here? Int value, right? I hope you got it here. Why I'm just using int. Int value only have been declared the value. This I'm just passing an variable as an argument here. Okay. Now what will happen? Int value contains some value, right? 200 is going to pass it to this XAML. So what is this XAML? Callable workflow as an argument called arg int value. I'm just clicking OK. Now save this. Here now I think that's all about the indirection. Very simple. I'm just declare one variable here. I have been assigned some value. This value I'm just passing to this guy. Okay. If you want to edit the arguments, click on edit argument if you want. So only first time only we have to click on the import arguments. So after this indirection, so for indirection same thing, whatever you're declaring there also it should be come as it is. You should not change the direction here. So arg direction is int, the type is also int. This should be, see here, my where int value should also be integer, then only your argument will not throw an exception. Otherwise you declare an integer variable but you're passing as a string, definitely it is not going to be. So there should be implicit conversion, right? So this obviously which is going to throw an exception here. I'm just clicking OK. Now quickly save this. So make sure that you should not run from here, because if you run from here, what will happen? The arguments we are not passing some value here, right? So obviously what will happen? It is going to execute, but which is not going to display any output here. So make sure that where you have to run from your bot, you have to run from your bot from here, indirection demo. Quickly save this. I'm just running. I kickstarted my front office bot here. Completed. See, in value 200. The 200 has been passed from indirection, but where I am displaying this context, in value context has been displayed from here. In value plus arg value. Arg int value I got 200 from indirection demo. This is how indirection demo is worked. Any queries here?
You see, it's like you create one flow where you defined one variable and value, and that value you call it through argument part, and that argument you defined in the another workflow as a in flow.
Yeah.
In type, right?
Indirection.
Indirection. Okay. Okay. Normally in the programming language, this kind of cases it's like if you want to supply any input to one particular function, and then that input will be defined, that variable will be defined globally in the program, and whichever function that input is required, that variable is required, we can use that variable to the as an input of the function. So similar case, in one workflow, you create one variable, and when you want to call that variable to the other workflow, where argument to be used.
Exactly.
Through argument, you are using that value as an in value to the other workflows, right? Is it right, my understanding?
Exactly right, Anya. Because we are
Okay.
passing some value to other. It's very simple, pass by value. You might just recollect that word, pass by value we have used in C or C++, right? Pass by value. That's all. I'm passing some value to the other guy. How we are going to pass? I'm just going to use the directions here. That's all.
Okay.
Clear, right?
Yeah, clear.
Fine. Now, so we'll move on to the next direction. So what is the next direction? Out. The out is nothing but the argument can be used to pass the data outside of the given workflow. That nothing but here so far what we have done is the like quite opposite here now. In is nothing but I am declaring the variable here. I am passing this value to the other workflow. Now the completely is opposite of the in is nothing but out. In I am currently workflow A, but I am going to pass you only variable. I'm going to pass you only variable to you, but you have to assign some value to me and you have to send back to me. Very simple. There are two workflows, A and B. I don't know because you have to pass that value to me. I don't know the value exactly. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to send one variable to you. Let's say example int val, I'm going to pass it to you, but what you are going to do inside the int value, you are going to assign some value and send back to me. So let us see one example for better understanding here. Let me create out direction. Demo. We create. Quickly create one variable here. This is of type integer, and here I should not declare any default values because everything I have to get it from the callable workflow. So this before call out direction. So I'm just displaying before and after. Let us see for better understanding. So here what is that? Int value dot toString. Now I'm going to create callable workflow. So I'm just going to modify in the same workflow here. The argument, this should be an out. This should be an out and remaining and all same. But here I should not I should not use this because it is not in direction. For time being I have just disabled that activity. Now I'm just calling this arg into value. Here I'm just going to assign some value. You got my point here. Where I'm assigning in the callable workflow I am assigning, but in the out direction, right? I'm not assigning any value here because I want to get the value from the callable workflow. This is a callable workflow. Here this guy is assigning some value here, and this, if we declare as out variable, what will happen, which is going to return int arg int value to this out direction demo. The quickly save this. Here invoke. How you are going to call invoke other files here? I want to use invoke workflow file. So before that, we just save this properly because we have changed the directions and all, right? Now going back to the out direction demo. Here I'm just calling this. So callable workflow. Just click on the import direction. See, so whatever the direction I have changed there, it is got changed. So in which variable I want to store the return value here into value. Click OK. Now copy this, paste it. After call out direction. So what is the value? You got it, Venkat? Here what I'm trying to simulate here.
Yes, but little confusion.
Yes. Now you got clear about indirection, right? Indirection,
yeah,
you clear.
that is straightforward. That is clear.
No issues. I'll make it perfect here. So it's very simple. I'm just simulating before call out direction. What is the value in int val? And after calling the workflow, what is the value? What is the value which you have written from the callable workflow? It's very simple. Out is nothing but I am passing some argument to you. In the argument, you have to assign some value and you have to return back to me. It's very simple. It's like, no, I don't know the value.
Yeah. The concept is okay. The in is you are supplying the very argument with the value as an input to me. But here you are supplying only the argument. I fill the value and return to you.
That's all. Now go back to the callable workflow. Here I have taken argument like out direction and I have assigned some value like arg int value. See, whatever you have declared the argument here, in the argument I have assigned some value like 150.
Value. Okay.
150 should return to this out direction demo. Where I am printing that value here, in here only I am printing, but I am not printing any value in the callable workflow. Pretty much clear, right? Now let me quickly run this for better understanding. If you save this and run it. Here we go. So before call out direction, what was the value? 0, right? So by default, when you declare integer variable, by default it has been assigned with 0. By default, value of the integer is 0. Now after call out direction, so what was the what it has been written here? 150. This 150 has been written from the callable workflow. I think we got it. Clear, right?
Yeah. Now, what is the use of this much this much steps just to supply one value as an argument to the other flow?
Yeah. Here, right, I'm just entire task I'm just segregated into subtasks. Right? So while we are doing like this, I maybe know I have a separate XAML I have been written there. So what that guy has to do, that guy will open one web page where he has to extract the data from the web page, and he has put it into one data table. That data table he has written to me.
Okay.
So in real time.
Okay.
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 So
Which means something. I mean, you created the variable and given to me. You don't know what kind of value I'm going to provide you.
yeah.
I mean, what value, what not what kind, what value I'm going to. It might be 100, 1,000, or lakh. It depends
Yes.
because runtime, the value may get changed in my area.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
once the runtime, the value get changed, what value I get, that value I assign to the variable, and
hmm
that variable, and that align with the argument and back to you, right?
Exactly.
Okay, okay.
So very simple. I'm just segregating my task, and I
Mhm.
want to interact between all these things, all these my XAMLs. How we are going to interact by passing the different types of directions of the arguments. Pretty much clear now.
Okay, yeah.
Now, now I have a last direction called in out. So far we have seen what is in, so what is out, and what is in out. Sorry. So now we let us see what is in out. The argument can be used both within or outside of the given workflow. That means that I have some value, fine. I have some
Mm.
value. This one,
Okay.
I'm going to pass it to the other workflow as an input.
Mm.
That guy will modify that one, and he is
Mm.
going to return to me.
Okay.
Okay. So in the
Okay.
real time, so here in the in and out direction where we are going to use in a sense,
Mm.
breadcrumb is the concept. So what is
Oh,
the
it
bread?
means the third case, when you define the type of argument, if it is in and out, the value one you supply to me, I have a rights to change and give it back to you.
Exactly right.
Okay. Okay.
Now let me create one sequence here in out direction demo. So create this. Fine. Now here same example I'm continuing for better understanding. Here I just declare one value called int val. So let's take example, this is integer. Here I have given some default value called 100. Now quickly, so I'm just calling this inward workflow here. So before that, so what we have to do, let me print the default value what we have been assigned here in value. So what is that? Int value dot toString. Now let's go back to the callable workflow. Quickly save this. What I want to do, I'm going to change this direction, in out direction, and simply enable this. So in this one, what will happen? Whatever I'm getting the value from the in-out direction demo XAML, I'm just printing here, and I'm just going to reassign to this one arg into value. See here I have rights to modify the argument value, and this value 150 I'm going to push it to this guy. Simply I'm just write one more. So out value, same variable, that's all, dot toString. Now quickly out direction, the callable workflow should be saved properly. Now it is got saved. Let's go back here. I'm going to call that XAML. So what is that? Callable workflow, import argument. See here, in out. This should be in out. So what is the in here? Int value. So what is the value which have been assigned here default? Default value is going to pass to the other XAML. So what is the default value? 100 I have been declared here. This 100 is going to print in the callable workflow. This here is going to print 100, and 150 I'm just going to reassign to the same argument. This 150 it is going to return to this XAML, and I'm going to print it here. Quickly save this. Just run this for better understanding. Here we go. See here, this in value where I have printed. Let us open the output and let us debug this. See here, this in value, default value I have declared, right? Just I'm printing here. In value is 100. Now go back to the callable workflow. Here also I just declared in value, right? This in value I'm just printing here. Whatever the data I am getting from the in out direction demo, I am printing here. That is called this in out. This one. Then here I have been reassigned value. So what is the reason reassigned here? It has been assigned to 150 here. This 150 where I am printing, this 150 I am printing from the in out direction demo. After calling my invoking methodology, I am printing the value which is going to return the out value from the callable workflow.xaml. It's pretty much clear.
Yeah. Yes.
It's clear, right?
Yeah.
Fine. So that's all about the arguments. Here importing namespace is a concept. So importing namespace is nothing but, so if you want to import any namespaces like a VB.NET namespace in UiPath to represent containers, you have a list of already we have discussed what is a namespace. A namespace is nothing but it's a collection of logical classes. If we want to perform any databases operations, so what is the namespace which we have to import? System.data.sql client. Let's say example, my client is that database client is SQL. So make sure that you have to import the system.data.sql client.
It's
So which
like a
is
module, kind of modules.
it is not a module, it is a container. Simply we can
Container,
say
okay.
container which will have different types of classes again. So the definition of the namespace is nothing but a collection of logical classes. Correct.
Okay.
So it is a container which will be hold n number of classes into that. Okay. So whenever we require from that, you just call it. Simply here, right? Example here, system.data is a namespace. Okay. From there, you can access system data table is a class. From there, you can use the data views one class. From there, you can use data column is one class. From there, you can use data row is and also one class.
Okay.
So namespace is nothing but collection of logical classes. System.data, if you imported system.data, obviously what will happen? I can access all these subclasses from the system.data namespace. Let's quickly see this with a better understanding. Imports. So where you are going to import the namespace here? Here, system here. System dot, you have to type it here, system
हेलो अच्छा ओहो ओके 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 जी ओके ஓகே 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 சரிங்க ஜி ஓகே ஜி ஓகே 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 ஜி ம் சரிங்க ஜி ஓகே 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 தேங்க்ஸ் 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 யா தேங்க்ஸ் தேங்க்ஸ் டிஸ்கனெக்ட் ஆயிடுச்சு